japa is when you're chanting personally, and kirtan is when we're chanting together. And japa is a practice which has been done since the time of Lord Chaitanya or before. And the reason it's done is so that we can make a vow to chant a certain number of Maha Mantras every day. And then we have beads so we can count. Prabhupada, when he initiated devotees, he asked them to chant 16 rounds. It takes 2 hours. That seems like a lot for some of you. But it's only 1/12 of your day.
Yeah.
And so to put it in perspective, Krishna has given you 24 hours. So, to give back 2 is not a lot. It's only 1/12. You're keeping the other for yourself. So, it seems the reason anything seems a lot is because we're not practiced to do it. We don't have an attraction for it or something. But when you have attraction for something, you always find time, right? We find time to do what we like, and we don't find time to do what we don't like. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, when I became a devotee, the requirement for living in the temple was that you would have to rise at 4 o'clock, go to the morning program in the temple starting at 4:30 RT. And then from RT would end at 5 or 5 minutes before 5. And then we would do some puja to Tulsi Devi, and then we would chant. So everybody would just sit in the temple or go for a walk. And for an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, we would chant. And usually you could get almost 16 or even more. And so that was just normal for us when we moved in the temple. That was just the program. And then we'd have class, and we'd do that every day. That was our sadhana. And so when we wanted to get initiated, then we would have to make a vow that we would do 16 every day. And Prabhupada said something interesting. He said that in India, traditionally, 64 rounds was normal, like 8 hours. Of course, people weren't working as hard as we're working. But if you didn't have phones, we didn't have phones in those days, you would have a lot more time than you have now.
Yeah.
You think, how could I chant for 2 hours? Well, lock your phone up for a week and you probably could do it. At least we didn't have phones. We didn't have that kind of distraction. And Krishna consciousness was important to us, and Prabhupada said this is the main way you become Krishna conscious, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. There's nothing as powerful. And then he said, initially he said you should chant 64 rounds, and the devotees said, well, we can't do that. We're not able to sit and focus because our minds are distracted. Then he said, well, then do 32. And they said, we can't do that. And then he said, 16, no less. These are people, the first people that were coming to the Hare Krishna movement who knew nothing about Krishna. So they said, okay, we can do 16. So these were the people who were coming full time to learn Krishna consciousness. And then he began initiating devotees, and they would make a promise to chant 16 and follow 4 principles: no meat, no fish, no eggs, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. And he said, if you do that, in this life I will take you back to Krishna. There'll be no more samsara, no, this will be your last birth. So, the most important thing to understand is that, as you might know, in ancient times, it was not actually that ancient, because the British kind of ruined it all, but before they came, Gurukulas were quite normal. And that's how at least young boys, I don't know about girls, young boys were educated, maybe some girls also. And in the Gurukula, to go to that school, traditionally, you would get Upanayana, you would get initiated by your guru. And at least if you're in a Brahmin family, or those families, right? When you're like 8. Any of you ever had that happen? I know someone who got Upanayana, Gayatri mantra, you get it. And you get Gayatri, then you could chant Vedic mantras, and you could learn. That was a requirement. You have to learn from your teacher. Then you chant these Vedic mantras. If you didn't have a guru, and he didn't give you the mantra, you couldn't chant it. Even if you did chant it, it wouldn't work. And there was some requirement, like you have to be born in a very pure lineage of Brahmins, and totally vegetarian, and so many principles, all sattva stuff, very high consciousness. Then you could chant the mantras, and then Gayatri mantras are chanted morning, noon, and evening, at the sannyas. And you should be clean, ideally. It's like worshiping, doing puja in the temple. There's a standard. And 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya came and said that I'm going to give you the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and anybody can chant it. You don't have to have any initiation. You don't have to be born in any family. You don't have to be bathed. You can chant it anytime. It doesn't matter. But more important, Lord Chaitanya saw that because this is Kali Yuga, the last of the 4 yugas, this age is the age in which people have the least spiritual inclination. Satya Yuga. They just meditated. Everything was sattva. And then it went down a little, Treta, Dwapara, went down a little bit, and Kali Yuga is considered the age in which is the most degraded, specifically, spiritually degraded, and mixed up and materialistic and so forth. As you know, look around you, you see it all. People are interested in what? Mostly money, mostly career. Marriages are becoming all about sex, and there's not real commitment. These are signs of Kali Yuga. People are not really that interested in spiritual life, and they might come to a temple, but they're not interested. They're just coming because they want some material benefit, or they want some protection. I call the temple for many people, it's like an insurance company. We'll go and offer something to the deities. It's like insurance, isn't it? But nothing bad happens. So that's not actually the purpose of religion. The purpose of religion is to connect with God, connect with Krishna. But in Kali Yuga, these things happen. So Lord Chaitanya, this is how Srila Prabhupada explained it. He said, Krishna came, spoke Bhagavad Gita, and practically nobody followed it. And so many people didn't even know who Krishna was. And so then Lord Chaitanya, when Krishna was thinking, I came to speak Bhagavad Gita, so few people are actually taking it up. We have to do something. I will come back, and I will distribute the love of God to everyone, whether they want it or not. I'll give it to them. And how will I do that? I'll put all the love in the Hare Krishna mantra. The Hare Krishna mantra has existed forever. He said, but I'll come and make it more powerful. So now when people of Kali Yuga chant it, Kali Yuga is like 26th stage cancer. You need some really potent medicine. That's like, you're about to die. You need something really strong. So Lord Chaitanya is like, okay, people in Kali Yuga, they don't have very strong spiritual inclinations. They're not really interested. We have to make it really easy for them. So we're going to make this mantra more powerful than it's ever been in the history of the universe. And we're going to give it to everybody. And it's so powerful that it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't matter where you've come from, what sins you've committed, what your karma is, what your samskara is, what your family is, what your birth is, what your bad qualities are. It doesn't matter. We'll give it to you, and it'll purify you. And all your past karma, just wipe it out. It's not true. It's all, it doesn't matter. So, there's so many verses in the scripture that glorify the chanting of the holy name and saying it's like of all penances, chanting is the greatest penance. Of all this, it's the greatest this. Of all that, it's the greatest this. And so like, how is it the greatest? And how is it greater than doing all this fasting and this and that? Because the effect is great. So it's a mantra which is actually meant for people in Kali Yuga who have so little spiritual inclination and qualification, and they need something like it. Just elevate them very quickly. So Prabhupada had a lot of faith in the Hare Krishna mantra. And so when he came to America on the boat, he wrote some poems. And one of the poems he wrote is basically, he's thinking, how are these people going to understand my message? Because this is the most materialistic country, the United States. And the message I have is about pure love of God, and how will they understand? And then he said, but I have faith if they chant the holy name, they'll be purified. So Prabhupada had this faith. If anybody chants the Maha Mantra, they can become purified. Isn't that who they are? So he's going to America. He doesn't know what to expect. He doesn't expect that people would be interested, but his guru asked him. So he's going to come. He has some books, Srimad Bhagavatam. He's going to try to sell them. And before he came, he told one of his friends, he said, I don't know if these people will be attracted, but if necessary, I will invite them to chant Hare Krishna, and if necessary, I will feed them meat to get them to come. Mm-hmm. And I will give them the Maha Mantra, and in a few days they'll stop eating meat. Like he had this faith of the power of the holy name. So in Kali Yuga, this is the Yuga Dharma. Every age has what's called a Yuga Dharma, a specific means to become self-realized. That's given in the Shastra and the Vedas. Kali Yuga is the Maha Mantra. So the Maha Mantra is so powerful and so important that when we took initiation, it was the only thing Prabhupada asked us to do, was to chant 16 minutes. He didn't ask us to do anything else. Of course, you could say in his books, he told us so many things, but he didn't ask us to vow to do anything. So this is so important, like you have to do this. You know, let's say you have an illness and I'm your doctor. You say, well, you should walk, you should drink a lot of water, you should get enough rest, but this one medicine you have to take every morning when you wake up. You have to do this. Like, this is the most important thing. So it was like that. Promise me you're going to do this, because if you don't do this, you're going to die. And if you do this well, the other things will help you, but this is the main thing. So everything you do in Krishna consciousness will help you, but the main thing is the chanting. So here's the problem. The problem is that when we sit down to chant, especially in 2025, when we've already had, I don't know, you probably have used mobile phones since you were like young. So your mind's already, it's already not like my mind was when I was your age, because I didn't have that distraction. So it's already like, I don't want to say we have ADHD, but we're more distracted. We're more in many places, right? You're doing something and you're on the internet and you're on your phone, and it's like, short attention span, short videos. So most people, when they sit down to chant, in the beginning, their first complaint is, oh, I start chanting, but I just start thinking about so many things, right? You see everywhere in the world, everyone. Even the people who have practiced for many years, still that's a challenge. I'm sitting down. Then the other problem, or one of the problems within it, is that Krishna and his name are the same. And it doesn't make sense to most people. Like, God's in his name. So you say Krishna's God there. Well, I say Krishna, and nothing happens. Sometimes I even fall asleep. How can he be in his name? Sometimes I get bored. And you're thinking, well, if God were standing in front of me, I wouldn't be bored and I wouldn't fall asleep, right? I hope not. So how is it that he's in his name? It doesn't make any sense, because I'm chanting and I'm distracted. If Krishna sat down in front of you, would you be distracted? I don't think so. You'd be enamored by his beauty. Yes? So we're chanting, and we've heard, or if you haven't heard, you're hearing now. Krishna is his name. He's a sound. Krishna incarnates in sound. Just like we have deities here, they're made of marble. That's Radha and Krishna, that's Sitaram Lakshman. You have Lord Jagannath in wood. And you have little Radha Krishna in grass. And you have Giriraj from Govardhan in Vrindavan, the stone from Govardhan Hill that Krishna lifted, and Krishna exists in that stone. So, because you're from India, you're more acquainted with the idea that God could actually be present. You come to the temple, and when you're in the temple, you're reverential. You don't smoke, drink, yell, scream, like, oh, it's just a statue, who cares? They just have that, so you can get an idea that God looks like, oh, he's there somehow. You're more accustomed to that idea. So for you, I think it's not going to be difficult to understand that if he can come in marble, he can come in sound. Like sound's a material element, marble's a material element, brass is a material element, wood's a material element. So earth, you learned that in science, right? What do they call it? We call it earth, water. In the Gita, earth, water, fire, air. In science, like what do they call it? Solid, this, and gas. I didn't pay attention in science class. But it's a similar thing. It's a material element. And sound is a more subtle material element. Subtle means you can't see it, touch it, smell it, taste it, but you can hear it. The more subtle it is, the less senses can perceive it. And the solid, the gross, you can, if it's solid, you can see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, feel it. So maybe that's a little easier. Well, it looks like Krishna. And so Krishna's in the deity. And when you come into the temple, if you have any sense that Krishna's in the deity, immediately something changes. Your consciousness shifts. I'm going. This is God's room. You bow down, or you nod your head, or you'll pray, or something, or you'll just be scared, or whatever. Everyone experiences it differently according to maybe how you were raised and how you were told to honor the deity. Some of you will come in and be ecstatic, If you were raised near Vrindavan, you'll see these, Jai Radhe! It's not like a South Indian one, like that. It's like, Jai Radhe! You'll be like that. But something you recognize there's God there, right? So one time a devotee said to Prabhupada asked a question, I don't know what he asked, something about the Maha Mantra, Krishna's name, and the devotee said, Krishna is in his name. And Prabhupada said, no, he's not in his name, he is his name. So we don't say Krishna's in the deity, we say Krishna is the deity, right? That's Krishna, he is there. When you're pure, you will realize it. And we have stories of devotees talking to the deities. We have stories even of deities talking, walking. Talking and walking. There are stories like that. Not just stories, but these are histories. His stories, real stories. So, the most important thing to understand now and when you chant is that Krishna is present there. When you're chanting. You may not experience it fully. You may not understand it fully. But you need to start with this point that Krishna is there. When you say Hare Krishna, he's there. The problem is we're not there. When we say Hare Krishna, maybe we're not there. Krishna's there. But if you're conscious that Krishna is there, how will you treat that chanting? You'll treat it like you would, when you come into the temple. There'll be a shift. So when a pujari is doing arti, right? He's doing it with love. He's offering each article, but the mood of the offering is to offer, this is for Krishna's pleasure, I offer it for you. If that pujari is just paid, like in India, they do it as a living, and they'll go into different shops and do puja for those shoppings like that. And you watch them do it, it doesn't look like there's any love there, does it? It's like they're getting paid, it's a job. You come in, put the kumkum and whatever they do, and offer a ghee lamp and some incense and chant some mantra and go to the next spot. And, sometimes temples have hired pujaris. I'm not saying all hired pujaris don't have devotion, but for some, it's like a job. It's just, that's what I have to do. And even for some who aren't being paid, who are doing it in seva, for some of them, if they don't have the right mood, it's just like, yeah, I'm supposed to do this puja, and then it's like, everything's good if I just, so many circles and like that. without the devotion. And so that is sometimes how we chant. Like you say, you should chant, you say, okay, I'm going to chant 2 rounds a day or 4. And you think the chanting of the 2 rounds is the goal. And then you're like that Vajari. Well, the goal for the Vajari is, 7 circles with each item. That's the goal. And if I've done it, I get my paycheck. Or I get, if I'm in an ashram, if I did it, I get prasadam and a place to sleep. We don't want to chant like that. That's where all the problems in chanting come, is I'm not chanting as this is Krishna. Now, what's interesting, in Bhagavad Gita, maybe you know this verse, Patra Pushpam Palam Toyam Yomi Bhakta Prachiti. Offer me a leaf, flower, fruit, or water. How? With devotion. That's the key ingredient. The key ingredient in bhakti, of course, is bhakti. It's not the ritual. I mean, there may be ritualistic ways to do things, traditional ways to do things, but that's not the real thing. The real thing is the bhakti, right? So that's why in that verse, Krishna says, offer me leaf, fruit, flower, water. With devotion, I will accept it. The connotation is, if it's not devotion, okay, kick it off the altar. I don't want it. You think I need a leaf or fruit or flower or water? I don't want to create it. I don't need it. I have plenty of it. What I need is your devotion. But you need something to focus your devotion on. So you can focus it on the leaf or fruit or flower. You give me something. So now you give me some. Prabhu, I want to give you something because I love you. What do you want? Give me anything. Because it's your love you're giving. So whatever you give, you're giving your love. That's what I feel. It doesn't matter what it is. Especially if I have everything, what does it matter? What can I give? What do you give the man who has everything? Just give him, a tie, but give it with love. Make the tie yourself. Paint it yourself. Do something with love. So when we chant, most important thing to understand, the goal is not, it's not a ritual. The goal is not, I'm going to chant for 10 minutes every day. That's my goal. When you're looking at your Hare Krishna, looking at your watch. And it's 8 minutes, I'm almost done. 10 minutes, Krishna loves me now. But you didn't give any love to Krishna. It was just a ritual. So chanting is not a ritual. And coming from India, or from Indian religion, you know how much ritual there is, that there's so much ritual, you don't even know what they're doing. What's that? Your grandmother says, I don't know, my grandmother told me to do it, just do it, otherwise you go to hell or something. So then for you, religion becomes like perfection of the ritual, go to this and do this and spin around. Why? I don't know, just do it. That's what you're supposed to do. And with each generation, you know less. Right. Probably your great grandmother could tell you, but your mother's like, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. You know what I'm talking about. So when you come to bhakti, bhakti is much different than that. Bhakti is not based on ritual. And even if there is a ritual, the essence of bhakti is the devotion. That's what it's about. So that's why Krishna says, offer me a fruit, leaf, flower, water with devotion. He doesn't just say, offer me fruit, leaf, flower at this time, in this way, with this hand, and it should take this amount of time, and you should be sitting on a kusha grass mat and facing east. He didn't say that. He said, offer with devotion. That's what's important. We have to understand that's what he wants. So now we have 2 things, and if we don't have these 2 things, our chanting is not going to be very effective. We have 2 things. That's Krishna that we're chanting to. That's a deity. We're worshiping a deity. Isn't this cool? When you say Hare Krishna, Radha and Krishna appear. Right? So you know the rasa dance. You know the story of the rasa dance. Krishna's dancing with like 108 gopis or whatever it was. And so he's expanded to dance with each gopi, and each gopi thinks she's dancing with him alone. So when we're chanting japa, it's almost like a rasa dance, because you have Radha and Krishna, Hare Krishna, Radha and Krishna. You're making that's your Radha and Krishna because you made it by saying it, and Krishna here says the sound, that you make your Radha and Krishna. And so we all are making our Radha and Krishna. So it's like you all have a deity, that appears and disappears with you make it with your tongue. So then you're making this deity with your tongue. That's your Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's yours. That's mine. I say Hare Krishna. That's mine. You say Hare Krishna. That's yours. And then, just as you worship the deity, when you say that Maha Mantra, you say it with love and affection. You're offering that to Krishna with prayer. Now, other people don't know this, but the Maha Mantra is a prayer. And it means, Krishna, I have not served you for millions and billions and trillions of lifetimes. In fact, I've tried to be like you. I've tried to be a god myself. What is a god? God's a controller. We all like to control. Like if you lose control, you go crazy. We all like to control. We like to enjoy everything we can enjoy. And that's what God does. He controls everything. Everything in this world he creates, it's for his enjoyment, his pleasure. We're in this world to try to do that ourselves, to control and enjoy. Right? So when we chant, we say, Krishna, I want to serve you. What does that mean? I want to serve you. For so many lifetimes, I wanted you to serve me. Did you ever pray to God to serve you? God, please help me. I need a better job. Please help me get this job or pass this exam. You know what I mean? We're conditioned. See God as a father. You ask your father to help. Father, I need money. Father, I need this, I need that. That's not bhakti. Bhakti is, Krishna, I want to love you. You love me, I want to love you. That's a relationship, right? So Krishna loves every one of us, but we don't love him. And so when you come to bhakti, you start to deal with this reality that Krishna wants my love. And I try to give my love to everything and everybody. This doesn't work, I'm not happy. And Krishna wants my love, and he wants to give me love. And he wants me to reciprocate his love. So we chant, praying to Krishna, I want to have a desire to serve you, because for so many lifetimes I had a desire. Not to serve you, but serve myself, basically. Right? I mean, we're all preoccupied in trying to be happy. Right? Isn't it? It doesn't really work that you can just grasp happiness. But we're trying. And when you come to Krishna consciousness, you realize that's not what we should do, that's not what Krishna wants. But then we find ourselves with a problem, like you all know, because you're beginning to practice Krishna consciousness. You learn how you should be, what you should be thinking, what you should be feeling, what should be in your heart. I should be more humble. I should be more tolerant. I should be more sense-controlled. I should be more pure. I should give up certain things, right? We learn all these things. But the reality is we're not. In reality, sometimes we're both, a little pure and a little impure, a little humble and a little proud, a little attached and a little detached, a little sense-controlled at times and other times not. And so when we chant the Maha Mantra, and we're praying, Krishna, I want to love you, I want to serve you. What that means also is, Krishna, I need help with this side of me that's against you, that's been conditioned to move away from you and just search happiness without you. We all have it. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. We'd be sitting in the spiritual world. We wouldn't have a physical body. If you don't have material desire, you don't need a physical body. Because physical bodies are only meant for physical pleasures. If you had no desire for physical pleasure, you wouldn't be here. Right? Did you know that? Yeah. Yes? If you had no desire to enjoy this world, enjoy your senses, if you didn't have desire to enjoy senses, why would you need a body? You would need you want to serve Krishna, you would get a spiritual body. You wouldn't need it until. So we have desire. We all know ourselves. So the lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, all this stuff. Impatience, anger. You know it all. And when you come to Krishna consciousness, you develop a desire to not be that way. But the fan is still blowing. The fan is still moving, even though you pull the plug, right? So we're chanting, Krishna, help me. Help me over. I want to love you, but I got this other side. It's like, it's resistant. It's conditioned. It's habituated. Please help me. So that means that chanting it's a very personal conversation with Krishna. And there's a lot of feeling into it. As much feeling as you want to put into it. As much as you feel the desire to come closer to Krishna, that much feeling will be in your japa. So if you're chanting and it's just, well, I want to practice bhakti, so I'm supposed to chant, I'll try to chant 1 round or 2 or 4 or 8 or 16 or whatever, and you're just doing it like a ritual, it's not working. And if you do it that way, you won't understand that Krishna is in his name. But if you do it with devotion, you'll start to experience that Krishna is there and you'll like it. So I want to help you like it, because if you don't like it, it's really hard to chant and it's kind of a torture. And it's really bad if you're chanting God's name and you feel like it's a torture. Because what you're really saying, although maybe you're not consciously saying this, you're really saying, Krishna, I don't like to be with you, because I'd rather be on TikTok right now. Basically what you're saying. Or I'd rather be doing something else, whatever that something else is. Or I'm very busy. I'd like to chant, but I'm very busy, so this is getting in the way. This chanting is getting in the way of more important things. Your so-called more important things are getting in the way of your chanting. You have it backwards. Your life, the goal of your life as a human being is not important material things. They're important, but not so important that it should block your spiritual life. Your goal is your spiritual life. And your material things should not get in the way. So, if you are chanting with some feeling, some prayer, some emotion, and some opening of your heart to Krishna, like you're talking to him, it's a totally different experience than just thinking, well, Prem Kishore said I should chant 1 round, so I'm doing it for him. I want to see how it works, or I know it's good for me. But I'm not really doing it, my heart's not into it. And bhakti is all about the heart, so you want to put your heart into it. That's when it's real chanting. Now, in the scriptures, there's descriptions of chanting properly and improperly. And on one hand, they say, well, any chanting is good, no matter what you do, it's all good. But with anything, let's use cooking for an example. We have to eat lunch, any cooking's good. Yeah, but some cooking's better than others. Right? And if I give you a recipe and you don't follow it, and I taste it, I go, there's something wrong. It's not the way it's supposed to taste, right? You taste something. Somebody cooked, you're trying to cook like your mother, and there's like miss half the ingredients or something. You overcook it, undercook. Doesn't taste like my mother's cooking, because he didn't follow a recipe or he didn't have it. So, but I put in all the same subjis and I put in the same spices. Yeah, well, what about the quantities and how much did you cook it or not cook it? And when did you put the spice in? And how much oil and what kind? Or did you use butter or ghee or whatever? So it's the same with chanting. It's not like you just chant. It's just, you don't just cook. There's a way to do it. And if you don't do it right, it doesn't taste right. It's the wrong texture. It's got too much salt. Right? Isn't it? Like you have sweet, isn't it? You have different sweet shops in India and they all taste a little different. So you have your favorite sweet from that famous shop. What's it called? The big one.
Haldiram.
What? What's it called? I always do.
Haldiram?
Yeah, Haldiram.
Yeah, but even if my recipe, I'm not following the recipe, but my intentions are good. In that way also, that the mantra should give output to me.
Yeah. Yes.
Because
if your intentions are good, but that's only half. but still you have to do it.
Yeah, because I love you, but I don't know recipes. I'm just japping mantra.
And I have to eat it and spit it out. So I'm happy your intentions were good, but I can't eat it because it tastes horrible. So your intention is to chant properly, but you should know what is proper chanting, so you can do it properly. So both should be there. I mean, in some cases in bhakti, yeah, it's just your intentions, everything, because that's what Krishna sees. But at the same time, you have to know how to, if you don't know how to do it, an intention alone may not be enough.
Yeah.
You may not be doing it well. But anyway, as we're talking, the way to do it, you could say, then I could spin it around and say the way to do it is have the right intention. That's the right way to do it. Yeah. So my intention is, Krishna, I want to please you, I want to love you, I want to serve you. And we're trying, by chanting, your love for Krishna awakens. So if that's the goal of chanting, that's why we're chanting, and that's the prayer when we're chanting. We're not just chanting, because if you just chant, you will get bored, you will get distracted, you will feel burdened. And if you're practicing bhakti, that's the worst thing. If you're doing bhakti and you feel burdened and bored, you're not going to be able to continue doing it, right? And what's your experience going to be? My experience of sitting with Krishna is that I'm bored. That's a really bad samskara to implant in your heart. And it's almost like, there's almost like a danger when you begin chanting, because if you do it wrong, you can implant a negative samskara. This is boring, I don't like it, I just have to do it. You know, like if you're a kid and your parents are Krishna devotees, and you have to chant. You have to. And you might grow up like feeling like this is like a punishment. And so, when you're an adult, you don't want to chant because you've just related to punishment, right? Or maybe you feel that way, your parents drag you to a temple or something. It's like, I don't want to go to temples because I didn't like it and they forced me to go. So you don't want to create that same samskara with chanting. Every time you chant well and you get some transcendental pleasure from it, it implants a very positive samskara. So, I have a little mantra that can help you a lot. Before I tell you the mantra, check my watch. We're supposed to end at 7:30. Krishna's name, if chanted properly, can give you love of Krishna. If you get love of Krishna, it will end your cycle of birth and death. And none of us without that Maha Mantra could ever achieve that. You could do some yoga, some austerity, some tapasya, some meditation, some fasting, some this and that. You'll never get that. You could never get to love of Krishna on your own. It's not possible, especially in Kali Yuga. So as I said, Lord Chaitanya came and said, we're going to give you love of God. You don't even have to earn it. I'm going to put it in this mantra. You don't have to do anything. You just chant it and you'll get love of Krishna. And if you chant this mantra, as I said, you can go back to Krishna. In one life. Meditate on this. We've been in the material world. You know how long we've been here? The soul has been here forever. If you ever feel like, why am I so habituated to lust, anger, greed, envy, and so because that's all we've been doing. In the cycle of samsara, we've just been cultivating lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy. It's so strong, isn't it? You don't even want it, and it's there. Why did I say that? Why am I desiring this? Well, because that's all you've done here. You've conditioned yourself. The Maha Mantra can work through all that conditioning, can purify us through all that conditioning, awaken love of Krishna in our heart, and love of Krishna is there, but it's so buried, it's buried under all that lust, anger, greed, and envy. The Maha Mantra can shed light on all that darkness for anybody if we take it properly, but it's not going to do that if we don't. And one of the worst things of not taking it properly is you won't be able to experience what it does and you lose faith in it because you'll say it doesn't work. It's like you do something wrong and say it doesn't work. this recipe doesn't work. No, you didn't follow it. You just didn't realize you didn't follow it. It does work. You know, you did it the wrong way, did it backwards or whatever. So it does work. And it's like waiting for us to activate it. So here's the mantra. Before you chant, you say, thank you, Krishna, for giving me the Mahamantra. So I would ask you to do this. Tomorrow morning when you chant, the first thing you say is, thank you, Krishna, for giving me this Mahamantra. Why do I thank you? Because this is the greatest gift. This is the greatest gift you have ever given. Lord Chaitanya came. This is the greatest gift that Krishna's ever given. It's his holy name, which can get us out of this material world in one lifetime. That's amazing. After unlimited numbers of lives, in one life you could get it. You get love of Krishna. And go back to him and live forever with him. Meditate on that. That's amazing, isn't it? Thank you, Krishna. And then you can say, I am so fortunate. That you want to enter with appreciation. I think a lot of us enter with, okay, I have to do this. It's kind of like homework, you know. And, you know, it's Friday night and I have homework. I'd rather not do my homework. When your friends say, let's go out, no, I have to do it. It's kind of depressing, right? It's like, I have to chant, right? There's a really interesting statistic that whenever you have a conversation with someone, how the conversation starts is how it ends. So if it starts positive, it ends positive. If it starts negative, it just goes down. Isn't that interesting? Like if you start negative, like, why did you do that? That was so stupid. The whole conversation is just going to go down. Yeah. Prabhu, what you did is amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's going to go up. Yeah. It's the same with your chanting. I don't want to chant, but I promised being Kishore. So I'm going to do it. Like, how is that chanting going to be? It's just going to be drudgery. Right. And so subtly, as I said, you're telling Krishna, I don't like you. Oh, you're cool, but I don't like your name. Oh, your name's cool, but I just, I'd rather be doing something else. So if you start out on that note, how's your chanting going to be? It's just going to get worse, isn't it? It's going to get worse. We want to start out on that. We have another mantra. This mantra, it's an affirmation. It goes like this. I want to chant, I get to chant, and I love to chant. And we say that, and you might say, well, why would I say that if I don't feel like that? You say that because you want to feel like that. Yeah. You want to create. There's a psychology, I don't know if you've heard this, that most people react, most people's emotions are in response to the environment, either good or bad. Right. So we pretty much were controlled. But there's another way of doing it. You feel the way you want to feel, and then the environment starts to respond. So that's, so it's like, why don't we go in feeling the way we want to feel about the Mahamantra when we start, and let them have that experience rather than, oh no, I don't want to do this. Then we have that experience. Like we've set the experience, we failed before we started. We don't want to do that. We could succeed before we start. So we want to enter it and say, Krishna, thank you for giving me the holy name. And I want to chant, and I get to chant. I love to chant, which means I want to create a positive connection. I want to manifest that appreciation, show that I appreciate that I have this mantra. And I have a story for you. I had an operation last year, almost exactly a year ago. And I'd never been so, after the operation, I'd never been so weak in my life. And I could only say like a third of the mantra and I'd run out of breath. And so I couldn't chant for like 2 months. When I finally was starting to get better, so I didn't have strength to chant. So I just thought, let me wait and I'll make my rounds up. And when I started to chant, I was not chanting at all like I'm telling you we should chant. Somehow I couldn't muster that up, that level of devotion. But I had so much appreciation that finally I could chant again after not being able to chant. So even though my chanting wasn't that good, my appreciation was really high. And I was actually relishing. It was like so sweet. I could chant Hare Krishna. So the appreciation can give you a taste. Thank you, Krishna, at least allowing me to chant that I haven't. Thank you. That I haven't given up on myself and given up on you, and you're so kind and so forth. And even you're not chanting as well as you'd like to, the appreciation dominates your consciousness. Like, I'm so fortunate I can chant. And Krishna, it's really amazing that you've come with me and you're actually here. Check this out. I started chanting 16 rounds, which is 2 hours. When I was 19. I'm a little older than that now. You probably know this. So I was thinking yesterday, or the day before, is there anybody, or is there any kind of religious activity you do for 2 hours a day? 365 days a year. Puja, do you do now? Reading, you might do 2 hours some days, but chanting every day. So every day I'm with Krishna in that form. That's my closest connection to Krishna. If I chant, will be his name. And he's in his name. So then I began thinking, if I connect with Krishna's name, if that's my main connection, because I take it everywhere I go. You can't take your deity wherever you go, but I take that's my main connection. Then what's my main connection when I leave my body? I'm so used to connecting to Krishna in his name that when I leave my body, it's like I'm home, because that's my center. I've done that every day. That's my biggest connection to Krishna is through his name, because that's what I do most. And when I'm leaving my body or there's some disaster, where do I go? I go to his name, because that's my connection. So that's really beautiful. And we take shelter. This idea, I take shelter of your name. Your name is a shelter because your name is you. And I can take shelter of you in your name, which means anywhere I go, you're always there. I always have access to you. You're one mantra. You're on. Krishna, you're only one mantra away from me, anywhere, at any time, any place. Right? In the worst of situations, I can call you and you're there. So that's beautiful. So that's why we say thank you, Krishna, and that's why we say I love to chant, because this is my connection. It's my deepest connection. And as I said, Lord Chaitanya made the mantra more powerful. It's like a high dose. Maha mantra, high dose for Kali Yuga. The disease of Kali Yuga is stronger. So you need stronger medicine. So he made it stronger. So we say thank you. And we say, I'm so fortunate. And then, if you want to even get into it more, you can say, thank you, self. Thank yourself. Thank yourself that you're picking up your beads and you're chanting. Thank you that you have the sense to do this. Now, I have a story for you. There's a preparation. We call it kofta. I don't know what you call it. You know kofta?
Kofta.
Kofta. Yeah. Kofta. Nice. Yeah. So we make it in tomato sauce, or as you say, tomato sauce. We have to say tomato. You're not in England anymore. You have to go to England or India to say tomato. Now I have to say tomato. You can still say potato. It's not potato. Tomato, yeah. So kofta, it's made from, I think, what's it, green peas? Is it?
No.
What's it made from?
Soya.
No,
It's very fast.
Gourd.
it's good.
Gourd, yeah.
Yeah, it's good, or you can make it from cabbage also. It depends. Cabbage,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can make it from good.
Your cabbage, yeah. And then dipped in chickpea flour and then
Yes,
fried and then
yes, yes.
soaked
You
in
make dumplings and then.
tomato sauce.
Soaked in tomato puree.
Yeah, and soaked. It's kind of like the equivalent of a meatball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You can make spaghetti and put
Right.
pasta
Yeah,
on it. It's like a meatball. Dumpling, yeah. So we used to make those at our Sunday feast. I was many years ago in San Diego, California, and the cooks really made it well. And everybody would take seconds and thirds because it was so good. Like, sometimes you eat more, come on, you're serving, you want your guests to eat more, You don't have to force anybody to eat more if it's good, right? And there was another preparation we made, malpura, which is not the flat malpura, but
Right.
the little balls.
Yeah.
That preparation, even more. That was like, you'd be going on fourths and fifths serving that. There was never any left. Kofta, never any left. So next week we'd make more, still none left, malpura. So the question always comes up, how can I increase my chanting? And the thinking is, it's kind of like a determination thing. I have to set it out and be determined. But we know, how do you get someone to eat more? Just make it taste good.
Yeah.
Right. I want my kids to eat spinach. I want my kids to eat this and that. Well, just cook it. It's so tasty that they will eat it. I never ate spinach. I didn't like it until I became devoted. Because the way they cooked it was so different than the way my mother cooked it. I was like, wow, I'm eating spinach. And I like it. So if you want to increase the number of rounds, first thing you do is you go back to what I've been talking about. And so you have an experience that I'm sitting with Krishna when I'm chanting. This is not just like some mechanical thing, a ritual. You click off a number, but I'm actually it's like I'm having a conversation with Krishna. I can open my heart, Krishna, help me. I can tell him I want to love you. I can listen to what he says in my heart. Could you imagine if every day Krishna said, I will come to your house, tell me what time, and we'll sit and talk? Would you miss a day?
No.
And if Krishna came for 5 minutes and said, I can stay longer if you like, what would you say? No, that's enough. I got to check my WhatsApp messages. You wouldn't say that, right? So when you chant better, you start to realize Krishna's in his name. And when you realize Krishna's name, why would you want to stop after 1 minute or 2 minutes? Because it's so sweet. Why would you want to eat 1 or 2 kafta when there's 3 buckets more? You can have as much as you want. So that's how you increase your chanting. And there's a funny story. There's one leader in our movement. He made a confession because we take vows to chant 16 rounds. He said, I can't chant 16. It's like a sannyasi guru. That's really bad. Everyone's like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And he said, no, I can't chant 16. I can only chant 32. I can't stop at 16. So that I've developed an attraction. So as the taste comes, you'll chant 1, 2, 4, whatever your number is. When you hit it, you're like, this is so good. I want to chant more. Because you'll actually experience sitting with Krishna, just as if you were sitting with Krishna and you wouldn't kick him out of your house after 10 minutes. I hope not. I don't think so. Right? So this is really important. This practice is essential, and if we do it well, our spiritual life progresses very quickly. And if we don't do it well, kind of just like wading in water. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not drowning, but I'm not moving. You don't want to just be wading in water. You want to be moving because if you do this year after year and you don't do it well, you won't get a taste, and that's something you won't be able to do it. Or if you, as I said, if you do it, it's almost like you're chanting and telling Krishna, I don't like you. It's like I give the, it's like if somebody's talking to you, if you're talking to somebody and they're just like looking away, and it's like, you can't talk. It's just so disconcerting, so it's like I'm chanting and I'm just like looking away from Krishna. It's quite interesting. It's possible to forget Krishna while you're chanting his name. I mean, that's weird, but it is. So that's a little intro. And what I would like you to do tomorrow is remember, before you start chanting, remember these things and say, Krishna, thank you. I love to chant. I get to chant. And most importantly, remind yourself that and say, I may not understand Krishna, how you're in your name, but you are. And I have to remind myself that you're sitting here. Right? There's one more thing we need to do. In order to do what I said, what we need to do is, when you chant, one of the reasons that your mind wanders is because that's what the mind does. So you have to do something to turn it off. Right? So it's essentially important to understand that when we chant, our mind cannot be turned on. It has to be turned off. And that's like a courtesy you give to Krishna. Like when I chant, my mind's going to be off so I can give it to you. It's not going to be involved in my life. Just like you come to my house, you want to talk. I have to turn my mind off. I have to turn my computer off, shut down my phone. Okay, I'm coming in, go to the bathroom, wash my hands, come in, finish my message. Just now I can be with you. So that's what you have to do. And the reason your mind wanders is because you haven't done that. Because you've sat down to chant, but you have not turned off your mind. Your mind's still on. And then your mind's on and you're trying to control it. But all you have to do is turn it off. But you can't control a mind that's turned on. You ever tried to study and there's too much going on? And if I'm in a study, I just got to finish, call your friends, don't call me. Turn off whatever's on. You just got to and now everything's out of the way. I can study. It's the same with chanting. If you don't do that, everything I told you,
How do you turn off the mind?
Yeah, your mind has a little red button. You just have to find it.
It's a monkey mind.
You have to find it. It's there. Well, let me give you a more clear understanding. You're not just turning off your mind, but you're giving Krishna the courtesy of your attention. It's like, Krishna, I'm going to chant your name, so I'm supposed to be conscious. I'm supposed to hear. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm giving you, that's what it means to chant. The other thing with the mind wandering, that's not chanting. That's cooking without following the recipe. It's not going to come out right. So it's extremely important to understand, like when you're chanting, your mind's going, just tell yourself, this is not chanting. This is not how it's done. I'm not doing it right. So that's one way to catch yourself. Prior to that, in the same vein of what chanting is the right way to do it, when you chant, if you're chanting, you don't need to be connected with your life because you're not going to do anything anyway because you're chanting. Everything you're thinking about doing, you will do later, and you don't have to think about when you're chanting. And in fact, if you do, you can't chant anyway. So however you do it, however you find that red button, that red button is it's like, let's do the sound effects for that red button. That's your life. It just goes, but the thing is, when you wake up, your life's already off. It hasn't started. Just don't start your life until after you chant. The problem is many of us start our life. So right in the morning, checking our phone, looking at this, just don't start it. If you want to chant, you want to start your life after you chant, not before. So if you sit down and you think, okay, now's my time with Krishna, my day, like tomorrow morning is Tuesday, right? So just pretend, let's say you're going to get up, whatever, you're going to chant from 6 to 7. And then 7, you're going to start getting ready. So just tell yourself Tuesday doesn't start till 7 a.m. It's not Tuesday yet. Something like that. Something in which you can just forget everything. Like you're comfortable now forgetting everything. There's no need. You have no need to have your day start. You have to. That's the red button. Then you just go but just don't start it in the first place. And then after you press the red button, it'll pop out. You have to continually press it in. But as you do it, you get better. And if you get good enough at it, what happens is as soon as you start chanting, if you haven't turned your day off, it'll turn off by itself because you'll know. And that's what it means. Just like I said, studying means turning off. And you're all students, and you've all done it a million times. You've all, in the middle of your friends and phone and this and that. You leave a party and you go home and open the books. You know how to do it. right? And in fact, we do it every night. We turn off every night. Otherwise, we can't sleep, right? How do you fall asleep? You turn your light off. You know, turn your phone off. Everything's off. I'm not going to worry about anything for 6, 7, 8 hours because I'm going to be asleep. So we already know how to do it. So just extend it a few more. Don't allow yourself to wake up. There's nothing, 95% of the time, there's nothing that important that has to be taken care of that early. In the morning, your morning sadhana is your mountain. That's how you climb to the top. And from the top of that mountain, you see life clearly. So when you're climbing that mountain, just don't have anything else going on. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, that's what I do. When I chant, I chant. I don't do anything else. When I study, I study. It's the same thing. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Plenty of times, Prabhuji, we start chanting with utmost concentration, everything. And by the time it's over, our mind is somewhere else and we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So,
Because you didn't hear my talk. That's why. Now you know. You see, what my mission in Thunder Bay for you today, tomorrow, and the next day is to show you what the recipe for chanting. So that when you taste that preparation, you're like, that's not the recipe. Like you immediately know, I didn't do it right. Because Mahatma cooked it and I tasted it and now I know what it's supposed to taste like. So I'm chanting and your mind's going, zzz, you go, that's not how to chant. You catch yourself. Because now you know you're more focused. Like, why should I cook something if it's not going to taste good? It's a waste of time and a waste of money. Why should I chant if I'm not doing it right? So the more you embed these things in your consciousness, the easier it's going to be, and the sooner you'll catch yourself.
so when we say that, why do I chant when I'm not doing it right? Then people just stop chanting. I'm not doing it right.
Yeah, okay, so stop chanting.
So
Recoup.
isn't it better to chant rather than stop it?
This is what you do after class. You buy my Japa affirmations. You stop and you read them. You read an affirmation, or you read something about the one, or you stop and you think about what you heard tonight. Like Krishna, I'm trying to connect with you and thinking about all these other things, and that I need to give you the courtesy of my attention. And then you get, and I'm really chanting to pray to you for pure bhakti. So let me get back in that mood. It's like anything. Sometimes you're not in the mood, so I have to write this, I'm not in the mood to write. I have to sing this or paint this or whatever it is, cook this. I'm not in the mood, and if you're going to do it, you better get in the mood. And somehow or other, you have to get in the mood. It's like, I gotta watch this video, I'll get inspired. Something like that. I have to do some austerities. I'm going to watch a video of somebody, taking an ice cold bath. It's like, okay, I'll get inspired. You know what I'm saying? So the more you practice, the easier it'll be. It's going to be harder in the beginning. Yeah, you'll try it and then you'll go. But I can guarantee you, if you're more conscious, when your mind goes off, you'll catch it faster. And you go, oh, I got to hit the red button again. Life, turn off. So your mind will go off and you'll think, I don't need to think about this. I need to hear the holy name. That's what I'm doing now. So if I'm doing it, I should do it. Right? Correct? Yes. We have a book called Japa Affirmations, and it's all to set your mind in the proper state for optimum success. Can't guarantee you'll be successful, but if you follow that, you'll be in the optimum state to be successful. Is that okay? Does anyone else have any questions, doubts, arguments? Yes?
How much time do you suggest if I'm starting?
How much time, how many rounds to chant?
How many rounds of chant initially?
So that I can at least...
The recommendation that Prabhupada made was chant what you can chant every day, what you think you can maintain every day. And then from there, gradually increase.
So you mean one round is enough, starting initially?
I don't even think 16 is enough. Right? One's better than 0. But I would at least do 2. Like I said, you have 24 hours a day. How many you want to give back to Krishna? It's like 15 minutes, that's like way too much. So if you're in that mood of devotion, this is like your puja, this is your worship. This is like everything, religious ritual, puja, meditation, tapasya, it's all here in chanting. So like, how much do you want to give? How much of your day do you want to give? How much of your day do you need to give? Because that morning, that's your time to be with Krishna. How much time do you need to be with him? And the better you get at chanting, the more time you want to spend, because it's real. You'll see how helpful it is and how sweet it is. Yes?
Follow-up question on that.
Yes.
Is there a specific, like you mentioned, morning is the best time, but sometimes I don't feel like I'm getting late, so I just take my car and leave for
Yeah,
work.
right.
So when I come from my work, I'll probably chant. Is that fine?
It's fine, but not as fine. It's more fine in the morning, because when you come back from work, your mind is full of work and you're a little tired. In the morning, you're a little more awake and your mind there's nothing in it, unless you have an exciting dream and you remember it, But your mind, the morning is dominated by sattva-guna. And sattva-guna, it makes it easier. So the modes of passion and ignorance, tamaguna, rajaguna, they're not really prominent in the morning. They get more prominent like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And you can feel it. It's just like, if you ever wake up early and you just go out, it's so calm, isn't it? Just then around 8 o'clock, 7, I think, it goes from sattva-guna to rajaguna. You can feel it. People are moving, and the world's waking up. Your mind's going like, I got things to do. So in terms of that red button, the red button is much easier to find and hit early in the morning. It's harder, like, if you have to go to work at 8 or go wherever you're going at 8 and you're starting to chant at 7:15, it's really hard. It's too close to that time because you're naturally going to be thinking, what should I wear? How long is it going to take to get there? I wonder what the weather's like. Oh yeah, I forgot that thing I was supposed to do before work. It's too close. So the earlier you're up, the further you are from when your day starts, the easier it is to just put that off because there's nothing to do. Right? What else are you going to do at 5 in the morning? Watch a football game. Chanting, reading, praying, it's the natural best time to do it. So in India, you have many tirthas. If you've ever been to a tirtha, a tirtha, the atmosphere is much different than it is anywhere else. As soon as you go into tirtha, you feel elevated. The closest thing to a tirtha is the early morning, because the early morning has that same sattvic environment. Tirthas are shuddha sattva, purely sattvic. But that morning is the closest you're going to get outside of being in tirtha to that peaceful spiritual environment. Even for non-devotees, people who are not so spiritual, they may not notice it, but early in the morning, they're more calm. I used to sell Prabhupada's books at airports, and for a week or so, I went out at 6 a.m. because I was doing something else like 9 or 10 o'clock, and I wanted to distribute some books, so I went out at 6 a.m. And everyone would say, excuse me, sir, they would just stop and they explain the book. And they were like just so calm. Then around 7:40, it changed. Excuse me, sir, I'm not interested. Get out of here. Everything changed. So even for people who are not spiritual, they're calmer early in the morning. It's just that's a gift Krishna gives us the early morning. So take advantage of it. And the red button is easy to find and easier to hit. And sometimes if you really just don't start doing anything and wake up, get ready and chant, you don't even need a red button because there's nothing going on. If you're up really early, nothing's going on. And if you want to find out, come here tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. for Mangal Artik, and then we'll chant at 5:15, and you'll see what else you're going to do. And you could sit there and think if you want about your day, but the point is you don't have to. At 7:30, you kind of have to because you're getting ready, so naturally your mind's thinking everything you have to do to get ready. But 5:15, you still have 2 hours, so you don't have to. So if you do, you can't blame it on anybody, but you're like Rajasic mind. It's like, where's my phone? I have to look at it. I have to look at it because I'm addicted. That's why. You don't have to. So like, we're addicted to thinking, isn't it? You don't have to. So when you're chanting, if you just can deeply ingrain this in your mind, that chanting means giving my attention to the holy name, hearing it, and giving my devotion and prayers to the Lord. That's what it is. And as soon as I deviate from that consciousness, I catch myself. Once I ingrain, I'm going to click. This is how to do it. This is how to play this instrument. You hold it like you hold a violin like this, not like that. You got to know how to hold it. So everything has a way it's done. This is how you use this instrument, this machine. And so chanting is like that. This is the instrument. This is how to do it. Once you get it, it makes it easy. Because if you don't, it's really hard, because then you have to spend the whole time trying to control your mind because you didn't find the red button. And you can't, because it's still on green. So how are you going to control it? Zzz, you calm down, beat, 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 beat. Zzz. And as soon as you stop beating it, because you haven't hit the red button. So, if anybody asks you what class was about tonight, tell them it was about the red button that you have attached to your brain that you have to hit in order to chant. Hare Krishna. I heard a rumor that Arti's at 7:30, but our Prajaris are from India, so we don't know what time it's.
He's waiting for you.
Oh, it's waiting for me. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause to his face.
I got some books with me. They're back there.
Yes.
And,
So as Prabhuji was mentioning about affirmations, so these are small little handbooks. So while chanting, before chanting, after chanting, you can read this. And there are some bigger books also here.
this is the
Yeah.
Japa affirmations.
Japa
That's marriage.
Yeah.
They're
And-
self-care affirmations.
So Prabhuji has. So if you want to have them,
Thank you.
they are here. And as Prabhuji was mentioning, tomorrow morning we'll do Japa with Prabhuji from 5:15 until 7 o'clock. And then 7 to 9, Prabhuji is going to give another class on how to improve upon our chanting. So tomorrow morning class and then evening class also, 6 to 7:30.
Tomorrow's class is at 7?
Yeah.
7 to 9
7 to 9.
morning and then evening 6 to 7:30. So Prabhuji has tons of experience how to improve the chanting, and we are so lucky to have him here in Thunder Bay, which is middle of nowhere. So we are really lucky that Krishna has
As you
sent
chant the holy name, you'll be in the middle of everywhere.
So
Even if
thank
you're
you
in
so
the
much,
middle of
Prabhuji,
nowhere.
for coming and blessing us. So hopefully we can see you, everybody. Who is coming tomorrow morning?
Morning.
Morning, jaldi nahi ut payenge.
You will come in the evening.
Okay, why not morning? You will come morning. What happened morning? You have job? Isko 7 o'clock job?
Job, yeah.
7 o'clock. How about you? Okay, whosoever can make it, please come. Even if you have job, come here for chanting from 5:15 to 7 and go for a job. Is that okay? Thank you. So after Aarti, take Prashadam. Prashad hai sabko.